It's been a couple of weeks now since our last roundup video, so there's quite a lot to cover in this one, a mix of both good and bad. We'll be discussing the troubling news about hound welfare, shocking footage from a hare hunt, updates on our petition to end the badger cull, and the government's response to calls for a ban on grouse shooting. Plus, we'll also explore how northeast hunt monitors are increasingly using drones and why there's been some actually positive news for once for bees. First up, it's a story relating to hounds, the often forgotten victims of hunting, and the revelation that there have already been over 500 incidents of hound neglect and mistreatment so far this hunting season. Now, in figures released by Protect the Wild, after analysing reports from Hunt Monitor and SAB groups from across the country, we logged 537 hound welfare incidents across 75 hunts between August last year and January of this year. These included 34 cases of hounds stuck in fencing, 53 incidents where hounds were stranded, 12 reports of hounds being hit or kicked, 10 cases of hounds being hit by vehicles, 39 visible injuries, 18 cases of rough handling, 84 incidents of dangerous conditions such as severe weather, and a staggering 287 cases of out of control or lost hounds, posing risks to wildlife, livestock, and public safety. Mental, isn't it? Yet if you or I were to run around with loads of dogs not on leads across busy roads, the police would no doubt immediately be on it and we'd be in heaps of trouble. Why then are these hunts not being held accountable when the public faces such strict regulations over dogs deemed out of control? Well, Protect the Wild will continue documenting these welfare issues season after season with detailed reports that expose the realities foxhounds face. We're also calling on hunters to rehome their hounds instead of shooting them dead when they're injured, too old, or they're deemed no longer fit for requirements. Our Rehome the Hounds project has of course already shown that retired hounds can live happy, fulfilling lives.
What would you say to hunts and people from the hunting world who are saying, well, if trail hunting is banned, that the future of their hounds is uncertain? What would you say to someone who said that?
I said they should look at how hounds can easily be rehomed, and they should do the best by them after all the years they've used them. The least they can do is find them homes to go to after, because, you know, Maggie and Negan are case in point. They are just couch potatoes. They live with cats and small dogs as well, and they've lived with chickens and free-range rabbits, and they've never had a problem with any of them.
Next up is the shocking footage captured by a brave member of the public who was out having a quiet walk in the countryside when they spotted a pack of beagles running out of control in nearby fields, and this is what they filmed. The hunt in question are the Pipewell foot beagles, and they're a notorious hare hunt who are regularly hosted by the Boughton Estate. Now, following the release of the shocking footage, the estate in question did respond with a laughable statement saying that until the matter is resolved, they would suspend the hunt in question from exercise. Why they haven't already banned the hunt is anyone's guess. Now, according to Northant Hunt Sabs, the estate also hosts the Pitchley hunt on their land too, so clearly they've got no issues with a leading wildlife killers. In the meantime, we're joining calls to urge the estate to stop allowing hunts on their land. It's worth reminding them that hare hunting is a disgraceful, illegal activity that was banned 20 years ago via the 2004 Hunting Act, and there's no place for it in a modern society. I will leave the info down below on this video for how you can get in touch with the estate and voice your concerns. Now, next up are some petition updates. I'm pleased to say that our petition to end the badger cull is showing no signs of slowing down, as this week we passed the halfway mark to securing a parliamentary debate, which is brilliant to see. If you've not already signed the petition, I will leave a link down below, or simply search badger cull government petition and you can add your name. In more frustrating news though, the government did reject Wild Justice's petition to ban driven grouse shooting, despite of course so much evidence linking the practice to environmental harm, raptor persecution and ecosystem damage. Wild Justice founders Chris Packham, Ruth Tingay and Mark Avery quite rightly argue that grouse moor management contributes to climate breakdown through practices like burning and draining, while also leading to widespread predator extermination. But DEFRA took a page out of the Tory government playbook on how to defend the bird shooting industry, claiming well-managed shooting can benefit wildlife and the rural economy. This is just complete crap. If we look at what's actually happening on the ground, you'll see that the peatland burning bans introduced in 2021 have been largely ignored, with investigations revealing numerous violations, that raptor persecution, particularly of hen harriers, golden eagles and peregrines, continues to be strongly linked to the shooting industry, with 75% of related convictions tied to it since 2009, and the supposed economic benefits of the shooting industry are always wildly overstated, generally concentrated among wealthy landowners. And the fact is, diversified land use such as rewilding and renewable energy projects are better drivers of long-term stable jobs than seasonal low-paying jobs linked to grouse shooting. The government's response is a joke. And just like their predecessors, they're burying their head in the sand and defending a toxic industry that is overseeing the decimation of wildlife and nature to please a tiny minority of people who get pleasure in blasting non-native birds out of the sky to feel big and brave. Again, if you haven't already, please add your name to the petition. It's also past the halfway mark, so could lead to a parliamentary debate too. Now, on a slightly more positive note, I'm pleased to report on how Northeast hunt monitors are continuing to use drones to expose the South Durham and Zetland hunts. This is a group that Protect the Wild has actually previously assisted with camera equipment, so it's really nice to see it being put to good use. And their latest video of a joint meet between those two hunts is perhaps one of the most damning yet when it comes to destroying the sham that is trail hunting. Absolutely no regard for road users. I mean, if you or I were pissing about with horses and a load of dogs on busy roads, quite rightly the police would actually do something, but clearly if you're a hunt, do as you please. And then we see a fox running across a busy road trying to escape. Disgusting. And what's interesting with this clear drone footage of hounds clearly digging to try and get a fox too, it's brilliant to expose what hunts are really doing. And yet we're told, oh no, we're just laying trails. And yet what's this then? Bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And in this clip, which clearly shows hounds digging around and trying to get to a fox, a member of Northeast Hunt Monitors told Protect the Wild that had the drone not been above watching and recording, the huntsman would have quite likely called in his terrier men to dig out the fox. So it just goes to show how powerful this technology is in protecting wildlife. And to end with, we have some more good news, as it was reported that the government has overturned a Tory policy by banning the emergency emergency use of a bee-killing pesticide. Cruiser SB, which is used on sugar beet, is highly toxic to bees and is banned in the EU. But the UK previously agreed to its emergency use every year since leaving the bloc. But a bee expert at the University of Sussex has warned that just 1 teaspoon of the chemical is enough to kill 1.25 billion bees. The previous government repeatedly agreed to its use against the advice of the Health and Safety Executive and the Expert Committee on Pesticides, but thankfully this year ministers are refusing the application based on what they describe as robust assessments of environmental, health and economic risks and benefits, and advice from DEFRA's chief scientific advisor, its economists, the Health and Safety Executive and the UK Expert Committee on Pesticides. Now just imagine if the government actually listened to advice and the science on other things, I don't know, like the badger cull, and actually read Torgerson's paper on the absence of effects of widespread badger culling on TB in cattle. Or is that too much to ask? I'm sorry, I clearly can't even manage a single minute without slating the government, but it's hard not to see the glaring irony of a decision that's actually been made based on science and reason, but a total refusal to look at the facts when it comes to the mass slaughter of badgers, who are protected species. Anyway, that's all for this week. If you haven't already seen it, our last video was an animated version of my debate against the Countryside Alliance on the topic of trail hunting. Only about 10% of hunting days are monitored by the public, yet last season alone Protect the Wild reported over 300 foxes and 150 deer chased by hunts. This isn't about a few bad apples, it's about stopping the relentless hunting of wildlife happening all over the country. And I've spent a decade on this because I'm frankly sick of seeing wildlife torn apart by hounds. It's quite a good one, so do head over to our channel to watch the full debate if you haven't already. And if you're new here and don't know who we are, we're Protect the Wild, a non-profit organisation here in the UK that does everything we possibly can to protect British wildlife from being harmed. If you liked this video and agree with what we stand for, then please do subscribe to us here on YouTube. And as always, I will leave all the links down below for the groups and stories mentioned in this video.